And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. So happy to be here with you every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets life. And of course, these Great Lakes Honda City Studios, you can find Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Proud to have them as our exclusive studio partner because that is where I've gone for all of my vehicles for over a decade. And so make sure you head over there today. If you've never been, it's a great time to go. And if you have been, it's great to go back there. New and used vehicles, buy and lease, and find everything in their inventory by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. And of course, you can go there Monday through Saturday for sales and service, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. With that being said, this is one of my favorite times of year, the Fantasy Football Power Hour, not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour is here with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This segment is proudly presented by the wonderful team at the Wildcat Sports Pub. Our Central New York leagues are exclusive to the Wildcat Sports Pub. We just drafted there within these last couple weeks. And of course, our Captains on Call League and our Gridiron Gurus League is ready to go. We've expanded both. I want to thank all of our members in the Gridiron Gurus League. Of course, I draft with you, and I'm in the league with you, so we have 13 members in that league besides myself. And in our Captains on Call, we have 11 members besides myself. So a 14-team league and a 12-team league. And, of course, I'm also part of 8-team leagues. I've been a part of 10 teams. So we could talk about a lot of different things here. If you have any questions, make sure you send them in. I will be circling the game that we're doing. At the time I'm talking about the game, I will circle that game so you'll know exactly where we're at. We move on the screen here. I'll put a little marker here. We move top to bottom, left to right. So the first game we're going to start with is the kickoff to the season. That's the Cowboys and the Eagles. Kicking off, bringing us into this NFC East rivalry right out of the jump, out of the gate for the 2025-26 NFL season. And we'll be going through. If we've already hit your team and we're on to another team or on to another game that you have a question about, all you have to do is feel more than free to shoot me a message, and I will do my best to answer that question for you. So make sure you send those over to us. As you have them, send them over. You can always reply to the video after we're live, but you're obviously not going to get my live in the moment response. You'll get a written response from me, but not my live in the moment response. So I definitely want to make sure that we do everything that we can for you while we are here on the broadcast. So if you have something and you have a thought, make sure you send it to us live so I can respond live in the moment. And if you can't get to this video until later, somebody shares it with you, you see it somewhere, and you have a question, you could feel free to send that question over to me, but make sure to reply to the specific video so that I can see it and respond to it, because I don't want to miss out on that. You can also send us a message on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. That way, if I miss anything here, I will be able to pick it up and see it on our social media because I want to make sure we get to all of your inquiries. So the first game we're going to start with here is going to be Dallas going up against Philadelphia. And so this is the start to the season. This is NFL Week 1. We have statistics from last season, but we don't have any statistics of what these players can do right now, including the players that have moved to different teams, like Micah Parsons, who's no longer a Dallas Cowboy. So I am happy to give you my thoughts here, and as we step into the season, this moment is a moment that's not going to happen any other time this season. And that is the moment of going in, not knowing how some of these players are going to look, and obviously it's going to take time, but how some of these players are going to look that are rookies, how some of these players are going to look that are on new teams. So this is a unique part of the season that only happens once, which I love, which is there's no statistics for 2025-26 at the time that we're talking, but there will be very soon. So we're going to get into this first game here. And like I said, if you have a question, send it to us. You are with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. You can find us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, happy to assist you here today. So Dallas and Philadelphia, this first game to go off into the season, and I'll start with Dallas's side of things here. The Dallas Cowboys, they're going to have to figure this thing out with Dak. It's got to be figured out. I am a fan of Dak. There's a lot of great thing. I mean, I love, his mom, who unfortunately passed away years ago. Before every game, I know that he was talking about having done this. He writes her a text message and, just kind of talks to her. And, she's up in heaven. And I love the fact that he does something like that. I absolutely love that. So that's beyond football for me. And then, we see the fact that in the football realm, it's been tough for the Dallas Cowboys to figure it out. Now, you do hope a guy like CeeDee Lamb's going to come through, but what Dak is going to be is a question mark from year to year. And that's unfortunate, but that's what it is. So I don't trust Dak to be your QB1 in this first week, especially going up against Philadelphia. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are both trying to figure things out. Miles Sanders is a former Philadelphia Eagle. In these games, one of two things happens. Either the player plays up against their former team and they take it to them and they have like a statistically monster of a day, or they remain quiet. So what is that going to look like for Miles Sanders? We shall see. Miles Sanders, here's the thing that's cool though. So Miles Sanders used to be an Eagle, and he played at Penn State. Saquon Barkley used to be a Giant, and he played at Penn State. Now Saquon is an Eagle, Miles used to be an Eagle, and they're playing against each other in the first game of the 2025-26 season. Miles Sanders, to me, at best, flex if it's a deep league, a running back 3. Javonte Williams, I know they got him above Miles Sanders. I'm going to say a running back 4 to start off the season. I would only flex him out if you could play multiple running backs. CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to have him up against this Philly defense. I'm going to have him as a low-end 1, high-end 2 at receiver. On the other side for Philly, who I feel better about in this game, I like Jalen Hurts in the game. I like Saquon in the game. Will Shipley, he's a guy that you would flex out. He might get one of those short yardage passes caught for a touchdown out of the backfield. I like A.J. Brown. I like Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert, here's the interesting thing here. The Cowboys could have drafted Dallas Goedert. And who got to them first by trading up in the draft? The Philadelphia Eagles got Dallas Goedert before Dallas could go to Dallas. And now Dallas Goedert will be going up against the Cowboys once again. And so this game, I would say for Dallas Goedert, I'm gonna put him as a mid-range tight end 1, mid-range to low-end tight end 1. That's where I'll put him for this. So that's what I see from this opening game that we have for the 2025-2026 season for the NFL. Here as we jump off our fantasy football, the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. The Sao Paulo game that's going to take place in Brazil, as we saw the NFL go to Brazil last season, and now they're back in Brazil. They will be there on a Friday night last year. It's a Friday night this year. Friday night last year, it was green versus green, Packers versus Eagles. This year, it's Kansas City going up against Los Angeles, the Chargers. So this is another divisional game. I love that they're doing this to kick off the season. I love it and I don't. I love it because it creates excitement and hopefully more viewership that you have in division play in the first week of the season for the NFL. But also, because it's the first week of the season, you only play each other twice in division. So whoever loses this game, that's something that can come back and bite you in the butt. And, teams obviously take time to catch their stride more often than not. So that's another part of it here that I look to and I say to myself, like, yeah, it's great to have this divisional play so early, but do NFL teams really like having to play inside of their division as early as they are in this season? So good to see it, but we'll see how it all shakes out in the grand scheme of things. The game that we have here, Kansas City going up against the Chargers, Chiefs against the Chargers in division of the AFC West. I'm going to go with the Chiefs first here as they are considered the road team in this game. So the Kansas City Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, you got to play him. You already know that. My man Gardner Minshew that I covered with the Jaguars, he's backing up Patty Mahomes. So I like Pat Mahomes in this game. Isaiah Pacheco, I would say yeah for Isaiah too. I'm going to have him as a running back 2. Kareem Hunt, I'm going to have a flex running back 3. Xavier Worthy, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2. And, Travis Kelce, we'll see. Is Travis Kelce going to continue to bring the output that he's brought in past years? That's left to be seen. Hopefully he will. I still consider him a tight end 1. He is a favorite target of Mr. Pat Mahomes, and I think if it's late and they need some help, they're going to go over to Kelce at some point here to help give them some separation. So I do like Kelce in the game. On the other side of it, Justin Herbert's not a bad bet. In a deep league, one of the guys that throws one of the best balls in the NFL is Justin Herbert. So I would be okay with you putting him out there. Ladd McConkey, I love him. I was big on him as a rookie. He had a fantastic rookie season. Hopefully that continues as he moves forward. Oronde Gadsden II made the 53-man roster from Syracuse. His father played in the NFL at wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. He is marked as a tight end, and he played tight end for Syracuse. Really just a tall wide receiver in the middle of the field. He did a great job there, and now he's in the NFL. But he also has Tyler Conklin and Will Dissly there. They're going to have to figure out who is going to make their mark at tight end. The irony is Will Dissly was on the West Coast with Seattle in a multi-tight end situation where there was no guy who was the significant number 1, and now he's in that situation still on the West Coast, but now with the Los Angeles Chargers. So I like McConkey. Amarian Hampton, I'm going to call him a running back 2 because he's coming into his career here in the NFL, so I'm going to call him an RB2 for now, and we'll see what he has here, but just watch him because he could end up being one of those rookies that steps up in such a way that you wish you knew his name when you were drafting, and you wish you went out there and drafted him and got him. So I am excited to see what he can do, and I'm looking forward to it. And I definitely am going to be watching him. I feel the best about Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey in this situation, though, for that game. Like I said, if you have a question, write it in. We have answered questions from all over, including Hawaii. So I'm always happy to answer those whenever you send them in to us. I will be sure to give you my thoughts and my take. And so the next game we're going to do is going to be Tampa and Atlanta. Tampa and Atlanta is another in-division game. This is a game that brings us to the NFC South. And inside the NFC South, as we have this Tampa Bay game up against Atlanta, this is Mercedes-Benz Stadium going to work again. I was just down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for a doubleheader that we had that featured the Aflac kickoff Syracuse versus Tennessee, followed by Virginia Tech versus South Carolina, ACC versus the SEC. And now, right after that weekend, the first weekend of football in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium will obviously have the Falcons all over their field now after having the college teams' logos there. So excited to see that and excited to see the Falcons go up against Tampa. Looking forward to Michael Penix Jr. And, of course, a big fan of one of the offensive linemen that protects Michael Penix Jr., that being Mr. Matthew Bergeron, who hails from the great country of Canada. And I was with Matt Bergeron at the Syracuse game on the sidelines before the game as he came to visit his team, having to come right down the road because he obviously plays for the Atlanta Falcons. So he will be going up against former Syracuse player Sean Tucker, who is a running back for the Tampa Bay Bucks, who went undrafted after having the new single-season record for rushing yards ever in Syracuse football history, passing the likes of Joe Morris, Ernie Davis, as well as Jim Brown and Floyd Little. Well, he is on this team. This is his third season in the NFL, third season with the Tampa Bay Bucks. He worked hard, he caught on, and he has continued to be there and be an asset to them, making the 53-man roster year in and year out. So shout outs to Sean Tucker for that. So that game that we're going to get into here, Tampa Bay going up against Atlanta. For the Tampa Bay visiting team, Baker Mayfield. I like Baker in this game. I think Baker's one of those quarterbacks that you got to lean on more often than not. He's more than resurrected his career in Tampa, and he's done a tremendous job. So I do like Baker Mayfield in this matchup. And then Bucky Irving. I think you got to play Bucky in this when we talk about the backfield. Bucky is the one that is leading the backfield that Sean Tucker is a part of. So I do like Bucky Irving in this game, and people have been drafting him higher, so that is something that I think. I mean, Bucky was one of the guys that if you drafted him last year, you were taking a chance. Now, if you have him on your team this year, it seems like you got to him before a lot of other people did. So Bucky Irving would definitely look at him in this matchup. And then outside of that, Rachaad White is on the injury report, so Sean Tucker might get some time. God willing, Rachaad will be okay. He has a groin injury. Groin and hamstring, especially when it comes to wide receiver and running back, is a pain in the butt for them, and it can be a nagging injury, so I'm hoping things get better for him and quickly. Chris Godwin, as we know, is questionable with an ankle injury. If he's okay to go, then he's someone to look to. You definitely got to put Mike Evans out there. And I like this guy in the debut. Flex him out as a wide receiver 3 or 4. Emeka Egbuka. Put him out there in this game. I just got a good feeling about it. And then as far as who's going to be the tight end, a leg injury to Cade Otton has him on the questionable list. So Payne Durham, who was getting passes from Aiden O'Connell when they were both playing at Purdue, he may be the guy that is going to have this early season chance to do some good things in fantasy. So I'm going to have Payne Durham as a low-end tight end. Well, I'm going to play him as a tight end 2. I was going to say low-end 1, high-end 2, but let's just call him a tight end 2. And then on the other side of it, Michael Penix Jr. I don't know if I would trust Michael Penix right now, points-wise, to lead me every week, but in this game against Tampa, it's kind of wide open, right? Because, again, it's the first week of the season. He did get to start a little bit last year, but this is him going into a season as the starter of the Atlanta Falcons for the first time ever that he is the outright starter. So I do like him in this matchup. I'm going to have him as a QB2, but monitor that because I think Michael Penix can do some good things for your fantasy team. Bijan Robinson, you got to put him out there. Tyler Algier, he's somebody that you could flex out. I'm going to call him a running back 4 this week, but I like Bijan as a running back 1. Drake London, you would hope that Michael Penix is going to get the ball out to the likes of Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who have not had the consistency that fantasy owners want. So I'm going to circle Drake London and Kyle Pitts in this game. I'm going to call Kyle Pitts, I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1 because I want to see how much action he gets. And my guy, unfortunately he's on the injury report, but my guy from Jacksonville who's questionable with an oblique injury, a man of God and somebody I always love talking to, Jamal Agnew, hoping the best for him. He's a return specialist, so look out for him in the return game if he's healthy and able to go, punt return, kick return. So just watch that if you have the Atlanta Falcons defense and special teams. We're going to go to one more game before we take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, giving you your fantasy football advice every single week on Wednesdays starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and what we call the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Next game is another game that will find us in division. Every game we've talked about here has been a divisional matchup. The one after this will not be, but we're going to go 4 for 4 here in divisional matchups. Bengals at the Browns. This is an AFC North game, and we'll start with the road team as we always do for the Cincinnati Bengals. My advice for you with them, obviously Joe Burrow, you got to put out there. Chase Brown has become the dominant guy here. Hoping things go well for him because I got a nice rookie card of his that's a good insert. So Chase Brown, I'm going to call him, in this game against the Browns, I'll call him a lower end running back 1. That's what I'll call him. And then Samaje Perine, that's a guy to look to in a deep league, flex him out. Running back 4, I would say. 3 or 4. They're playing the Browns. You never know what the Browns are going to do or not do. Jamar Chase is worth the play. So is T. Higgins. Mike Gesicki is injured. So is Drew Sample and Eric Ali. Of the 6 tight ends that the Bengals have, we have a bunch of injuries. So Noah Fant, former Bronco, then Seahawk, now Bengal for the first time. He might get the action in this game. I have him as a tight end too. Next game that we have up here, or pardon me, the next team on the other side of this matchup, and God willing, everybody gets healthy from injuries, gets well, and stays well, because I don't like seeing anybody hurt in any way, shape, or form. There's 4 quarterbacks on the Browns. They let Kenny Pickett go, sent him over in a trade to the Las Vegas Raiders. So they have 4 on the list. Deshaun Watson is on the injury report, hopefully, obviously, he gets better soon. He's on the physically unable to perform list, expected to potentially return in Week 5 of this season. Joe Flacco, Old Faithful, he's going to be starting the game for the team. They also have Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders on the team. So we shall see here. Jerome Ford, Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Raheem Sanders. Who's going to be the guy in the backfield for the Browns? And so I think Dylan Sampson in this game, if you are in a deep league, I would look at flexing out Dylan Sampson. Playing Jerome Ford as a running back too is what I'd look at this moment in time. Jerry Jeudy is worth the play. And people are high on David Njoku. I was high on him when he came out of Miami, and then he kind of dipped down. Then people thought he was going to get traded. Then it's like, what the heck are the Browns doing with him? And now people are high on David Njoku again. In this matchup, I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. So he's in a good footing because he's playing Cincinnati, and you never know. Again, these games could be 14-13. These games could be 38-33. When it comes to the Browns playing the Bengals, they play close, and sometimes it's high scoring, and sometimes it's a frustratingly boring game when it comes to points. So a lot of different things can happen in this matchup. I think there's a lot of players that you can play, and it's what defense is going to show up essentially here that's going to make a claim here on guys like David Njoku and Noah Fant, like how involved are they going to be. But I like the Bengals a little bit more in fantasy in this one. I do, like I said, I do like Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson as a flex, and then Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku. I got a feeling David Njoku might have a top 4, top 5 type of day in this game, but again, what type of Cincinnati defense is going to show up? With that being said, we will be with you right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. The next game we will be doing, Miami at Indianapolis, the first game that we have talked about in Week 1 of the NFL season in 2025-26 that is not a divisional matchup game. We'll be back right after this to talk about that game. If you have any questions, make sure you send them in to us on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt to the feed of the video, as well as write them in on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com in our internet streaming radio room, and of course here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. You can write in your questions for fantasy, and make sure you do that here and do it on the break as well so that we can answer them when we come back. And we will be back right after this.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they're always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and that's part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant is different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. And they are your place to go for your vehicles. Buy or lease your vehicles at Great Lakes Honda City. New and used vehicles there on the lot waiting for you. You can get a sneak peek of their inventory by going to greatlakeshondacity.com, and they are open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. So make sure you reach out to them. Let them know that DT sent you. It's time to go to our first game that is not a divisional matchup here in Week 1 of the 2025-26 NFL season, but it is on the same side of things in the AFC. The Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. My fantasy football advice for this game, we're going to start with the road team and the Miami Dolphins, and of course, a healthy Tua is a strong Dolphins team. That's why, it's imperative for him to be healthy, right? Because he means so much to this franchise. The frustration is that I don't want to see anything bad happen to this guy. I really don't. And I get nervous. I don't even want to call it frustration. I just get nervous. I'm angsty over the fact that, he's been hit. And I just don't want it to happen anymore. I want him to be okay and to be healthy and safe and have a wonderful life and, beyond football to be well in all ways. So hoping the best for Tua. In this game, I like Tua. I'm going to have him as a mid-range quarterback one in the matchup. Devon Achane, if he's unable to go, hopefully he is, but he's got a calf injury right now. So just monitor that. He is questionable. If he is able to go, I think he's worth the play. Ollie Gordon II might get some action here. Let's call him a running back 3 this week. And then Tyreek Hill, who is on the list of being questionable with an oblique injury. If he's able to go, he's worth it. And Jalen Waddle's worth it either way. Waddle while you work. Darren Waller came out of retirement to be a Dolphin. So I like a little sneaky Darren Waller touchdown on the road in Indianapolis in this matchup. And I'm going to give Darren Waller, I'm going to call him this week, I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. On the other side of it, for the Indianapolis Colts, they're going to be starting Daniel Jones, who's in navy blue again with a different team. Anthony Richardson's going to be behind him. And my guy Riley Leonard, strong believer in God, wonderful person, helped Notre Dame to the college football playoff national championship in the first year of a 12-team playoff. And I was on site, on location with Riley and covering the game. So shout out to Riley Leonard. Happy that he made the team. And in my leagues, you get team quarterback. So if the Colts start with Daniel Jones and finish with Anthony Richardson, somehow have Riley Leonard in there as well, if they were all to score or your backup scores, you get all the points for that. In other leagues, you have Daniel Jones, you don't have Anthony Richardson. Richardson comes in the second half, throws 2 touchdowns, runs for 1. You don't get any of that. Well, in my league, you do. That's why we have team quarterback, and I know it's one of the things that people have mentioned that they like, and that's probably the thing I heard the most about the league drafting up in Central New York, is that when it comes to team quarterback, that was something that people really, really do enjoy. Jonathan Taylor is worth the play in this game. Michael Pittman Jr. is worth the play in this one. And Tyler Warren's making his debut from Penn State to the Indianapolis Colts. He doesn't have to change his colors, right? White and blue. So, white and navy. He doesn't have to change that. Just has to put that Colt logo on the helmet, and he's good to go. Tyler Warren in this matchup. This is his debut in the NFL, and I'm going to call him a tight end 2 in this game. I'm going to have him as a tight end 2 in this matchup against he might have a career day. So, let me think here. If I'm going to call Darren Waller a mid-range 1, let me call Tyler Warren a low-end 1. A low-end 1, high-end 2. I feel better about that. We got something in here. So, and it's actually about Tyler Warren. Maddie Randoms sent us a message, said, is Tyler Warren a start and forget it? I want to say he is. I'm just a little bit concerned with the quarterback situation, Maddie. And so, and Maddie, I want to make sure that you subscribe here. So if you haven't already, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss it. We are here with fantasy football coverage. Wake-up calls here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, and we're here with fantasy football every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell. But it's funny that you asked that question. Just did. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is Tyler Warren a start and forget it? I want to say he is, but I don't think that the Colts are necessarily going to be a 1-quarterback team. That's my question here. He says, I have TJ Hawkinson and Hunter Henry as my other tight ends. All right. Well, TJ Hawkinson, I would lean a little bit more on Hawk right now just because he's shown that he can do some things. He's had some time in the NFL and he's had some big moments. And he also has J.J. McCarthy throwing him the ball. So, TJ Hawkinson this week, and we're going to get to this game, but I'll give you a little preview. Monday Night Football. He's on the road at Chicago. And then you also said that you have Hunter Henry. So taking a look at Hunter Henry and the Patriots this week, that's the next game we're going to. So we'll get to that in just a second with the Raiders. Shout out to Chris Berman. And, of course, the Raiders are coming to town to face off against New England. I like quarterback situation-wise, feet to the fire. I like Hunter Henry's situation right now, and I like J.J. McCarthy throwing to T.J. Hawkinson. I want to tell you Tyler Warren is a set it and forget it, but it depends on how Daniel Jones does and what that looks like. I do like T.J. If I had to pick of your 3 right now and I had to pick the matchup, I would pick Hunter Henry. In this the matchup I wouldn't pick this week is Hawkinson go on the road to Chicago. That's one that I don't like. But, I'm probably Tyler Warren a hair above Hunter Henry for this week and then TJ Hawkinson. I think the talent of Tyler Warren, there's a lot of excitement for what he can do in the NFL. So I want to say yes, set it and forget it. But as of right now, It depends on the quarterback. It really depends on what Daniel Jones does, but I appreciate the question, and I would say Tyler Warren this week, I would start him above Hunter Henry by a hair, and I'd start them both above TJ Hawkinson just because TJ Hawkinson's going on the road to play Chicago. And I actually think Caleb Williams is going to have the opposite of the sophomore slump you see with quarterbacks in the NFL and coming off of their rookie season. I don't think he had a really great rookie season. I think he's going to have a better sophomore season than he did a rookie season. So that's something to look to. And I would definitely be paying attention to that. So yeah, I do like the question, and I do like Tyler Warren. I just don't feel great about the quarterback situation right now. But I do think this week, if you played Tyler Warren, I'd be okay with that, because I don't want to tell you not to play him and then something happens. And of course, I'm happy you appreciate the advice, and I'm here every week, Maddie, so make sure that you send that in. And of course, our main website that has all of our social media, our articles, our videos, our podcast library, and so much more is wakeupcalldt.com. So make sure to check it out and share it with your friends. The next game we have to talk about is going to, and I made a liar out of myself, we are going to get to the Raiders and the Patriots, but first we're going to go to the Panthers at the Jaguars. This is a matchup of the two teams that came into the NFL at the same time. They were both franchises that entered the NFL in 1995, and Carolina will be visiting Jacksonville, the Battle of the Cats. And who do I have for this one? Well, the Panthers, I think some people in fantasy are a little bit more excited about the Panthers this season for whatever reason. There's some hopes for the Carolina Panthers to get it going in Charlotte, North Kakalaki. And there's people that are a little bit higher on Bryce Young. I'm going to temper the expectations of Bryce Young right now. I'm going to say, and they have Trevor Etienne, the brother of Travis Etienne Jr., who plays for Jacksonville. They're going to be going up against each other, but the starting running back in Carolina is Chuba. I liked Chuba years ago. People seem to like him now. I think in the game against Jacksonville, I'm going to call Chuba a running back too. Rico Dowdle, I'd probably leave off my list. Teteroa McMillan, who could very well be the number one guy in Carolina as a rookie coming out of Arizona with the Wildcats. This gentleman is questionable with a hamstring injury. Already as a rookie, I don't like seeing that. I hope that he's okay and will get better and get well and stay well. They did have Adam Thielen. They don't have him anymore. He returned to Minnesota, but they have Hunter Renfrow, who's so low on the list, which is crazy because he's got good hands. And I liked him in the NFL with the Raiders. I like him with any team because of the hands that he has. So I think in this game, Xavier Legette, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 up against the Jaguars. And there's nobody on their tight end list that I would lean on in fantasy as of right now. On the other side for Jacksonville, because they're playing Carolina, I mean, he's a talented quarterback and they're playing Carolina. I like Trevor Lawrence here. And so I'm going to call Trevor Lawrence a mid-range quarterback 1. Travis Etienne Jr., who I still think is trade bait. In this game against Carolina, I think he'll have a good day. I like him as a running back 1. I like Bigsby as a 2. And shout out to Syracuse player and back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher and someone that I built a relationship with over the years that I hope to talk to soon, LaQuint Allen Jr., who made the 53-man roster as one of their 4 running backs. But I don't have him fantasy-wise this week. It's Travis Etienne Jr. and Tank Bigsby. Brian Thomas Jr., he's worth the play. Travis Hunter, let's see. This is a true flex because he plays on both sides of the ball. We don't know how often he's going to be used in offense, defense, and or special teams. So I'm going to call Travis Hunter a true flex for you. And Brenton Strange in this game, I think he's going to find his way into the end zone. I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1 because he may just have one of those 10 yards or less touchdown catch in the end zone, but may not have too much else. So that's what I look for him as in the Battle of the Cats, which I'm excited to see. Next game that we have up here is going to take us to Foxborough, and that'll be the Patriots welcoming in the Raiders. The Raiders game going in there. Vegas, who has a new quarterback. Last year they played 3 quarterbacks, and this year none of those 3 is the starter. So of the 3 that they played last year, they still have a new face there, and that's going to be Geno Smith. And like I said earlier, they also brought in Kenny Pickett out of training camp in the preseason, brought one of the Cleveland quarterbacks over to the western part of the United States, and he'll be backing up Geno Smith with Aiden O'Connell. Geno Smith is a guy who definitely showed me that he could be a quarterback in the NFL. I didn't think he was going to translate in the NFL at the quarterback position. It took some time, and he figured it out, and he did a fantastic job, so I give him a lot of credit. In this matchup between the two, I like Drake May more than I like Geno Smith. Domo sent in a question here. I want to get to your question, Domo. He said, I was offered Chase Brown and Debo for Mike Evans and Travis Etienne. 12-man, half PPR, 2 flex. I have JT and CMC along with Tyreek, Olave, Pickens. Thoughts? So you got 2 questions for me, Domo. And so, Domo, I appreciate you being here with us, and I thank you for writing into the show. Just make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're here every Wednesday with fantasy content. And, of course, Wake Up Call is live Monday through Friday worldwide from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and past 11 like we are today. We typically go past 11. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and happy to answer your question. So you got a couple questions in here. I was offered Chase Brown and Debo for Mike Evans and Travis Etienne. Here's the thing, Domo. Unless it's like a blatantly obvious, yeah, you would do so well in getting these players in the draft. I'm not for, or not in the draft, in a trade. I'm not for these early season trades before anything happens, because we don't know, right? I mean, Debo is a Washington Commander now. He's not a San Francisco 49er. Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to translate? Remember, every quarterback has their guy or guys. So will he be one of the guys that Jaden Daniels likes to go to? I mean, Jaden already has Terry McLaurin. So I'd probably hold off on the trade, to be honest, on that one, in my opinion. So I would say Domo, hold off, because you were offered Chase Brown and Debo for Mike, and Mike Evans. Listen, Mike Evans is 10 years in a row of having 1,000 yards receiving. He's Mr. Consistent, and Travis Etienne is a starting running back. Chase Brown has become the starter, but we've yet to see what numbers he's going to put up as a consistent starter. So I would say hold off on the trade for now, especially because it's so early in the season and we're going into week 1. And then you got 12-man half PPR, and you got 2 flex. So you have Jonathan Taylor and CMC, along with Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, George Pickens. What are my thoughts on the 2 flex that you should play? Well, you got Jonathan Taylor and CMC right now. I mean, Tyreek is on the injury report. Chris Olave, again, the quarterback situation. How's that going to shake out in New Orleans? George Pickens I'm not sold on right now, so I can leave him off the list. I'd probably stay with JT and CMC if you're going to flex them out. And by the way, if you have JT and CMC as your flex, who's your starting running back? Are you going to be starting Chase Brown? Or, pardon me, are you going to be starting ETN? That's my question for you. So I'd stay JT and CMC. And then he has... So I would stay JT and CMC, but that's a crazy backfield if those are your flexes. And then Mike sent a question in: Adunze, Ridley, Matthew Golden, Khalil Shakir at flex. So I got to pick one of them. So I would say this to you, Mike, and Mike, make sure to subscribe yourself if you haven't already. But I'm going to ask you here, Mike, who your other people are. I got to know who's your starting. I mean, if that's your flex, who's your starting wide receiver, Mike, is my question for you. So make sure you send that back to me. So, Mike, who's your starting wide receiver or wide receivers? That'll help me make up my mind here, because I know where I think I'm going to go, but I definitely want to know who your starting wide receiver is, so that could just, the more information you get, and just so you all know, when you write in your questions here, the more information you give me, the better, so that I can assist you to the best of my ability. Like if you're asking me, if you should trade away a running back and it looks like a good deal, but I don't like your other running backs on the team, I might tell you to keep that guy. So just make sure you send it in to me. So he has Puka Nacua and Tetaroa McMillan. Okay. So Mike, you got Puka and Tetaroa. So Tetaroa is on the injury report. Just watch that and make sure he's okay with his hamstring. But outside of that, so I like Puka Nacua. I would say use Tetaroa as your flex, Mike, and I would say start Roma Dunze. But if you want me to just add another wide receiver, then I would say the wide receiver that I would add for you, it would be Roma Dunze. That he right now is the one that I would set it and forget it, because I got a good feeling about him this year. Dan B has sent me a question in here, and Dan B, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Want to answer Dan B's question, and like I said, we're doing the Raiders Patriots games, but when I see the questions come in, I jump on these instantaneously to the best of my ability so that we can answer them and make sure you have what you need here. So let's go to Dan. Trade Kincaid for Ollie Gordon II. No, because the thing with Ollie Gordon is we don't know how often he's going to play, and we don't know if he's going to be the dominant guy. We just know that Miami has a crowded backfield right now, and Devon Achane, if he's healthy, then Achane's going to be the guy. I would say no. I would say for right now, keep Kincaid, but more information's better. More information's better. So my question to you, Dan B, is I would say keep Kincaid, but let me know who your other tight end is, as well as your running backs, because that's going to help me better answer your question. My knee-jerk reaction is to keep Kincaid, but let's see here. So he actually just sent it to me. So 10-team, half PPR, auction. So he has Mahomes, Bo Nix, love that. You got Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne Jr. I'm guessing it's Travis and not Trevor Etienne that you sent me here. You got Zach Charbonnet, Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey, Chris Olave. Did anybody else draft in your league? My man, it's a good league, Dan. Good first name and good picks. Chris Olave, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, David Njoku, Kincaid. You got Harrison Butker, and you have Rams defense and special teams, bro. I don't know if anybody else is drafting in your league, man. I like that. That's a good draft for you right now. I like that. So, Mike, I answered your question on Roma Dunze. Yeah, Dan, I would probably say keep Kincaid just because Njoku, people are high on him right now. But the question is, is it actually going to happen this year? And, again, Cleveland's got a million different quarterbacks throwing to their tight ends, if they throw to their tight ends. But, your running back room is stacked, man. So I don't think that you need Ollie Gordon right now, and we don't know what Ollie Gordon's going to be. Could be a steal, but I think Dalton Kincaid, listen, it's between Kincaid and Shakir is who's going to be the lead reception getter for the Buffalo Bills. So I'd stick with Kincaid, because Kincaid, you have, to me, more of a surefire guy, where Ollie Gordon, you're taking a flyer. Now, this could end up working out for you, right? If you made the deal for Ollie Gordon and he ends up being the starter, and, weeks down the road, this makes you look like a genius. But I think Kincaid right now gives you a guy that you can lean on, where Ollie Gordon, you're taking a chance. And you already have a bunch of good running backs. So if you want to take a chance and roll the dice, it's high risk, high reward for Ollie Gordon, but I'd probably like you to keep Kincaid right now. In the Raiders as well as Patriots game in New England, Ashton Genty's making his debut in the NFL, and without him, the Boise State team made their debut into the 2025-26 season and got blown out by South Florida. So I like Genty in this matchup, and I think Boise State wishes they still had him. Let's go with Ashton Genty in the game. Amari Cooper is a Raider now. Jacoby Myers is the lead guy. Jacoby's good for PPR. I'm going to say, the question is, does Jacoby Myers even want to be there? Right? That's the question that comes up, is does Jacoby Myers even want to be on the team? So, I mean, there's talk out there that he may not be there for long. So, I mean, I'm going to say if you had to pick a Raiders receiver this week, let's say Amari Cooper. I'm going to call him a low end 2, high end 3, though. I like Brock Bowers at tight end. I'm a big fan of Bowers. I was a big fan of him at Georgia. Loved watching him for the last couple of years that he was there and then seeing him come into the NFL. On the other side in this game, I like Drake May. I think Drake May is going to have a good season this year. I mean, you got a new head coach, and he's in a position right now where, you know, he's had some time under his belt. So I do like Drake May. I think he's going to have a better season. Do I like him to be your fantasy crazy point getter for this week? Probably not. But, I mean, he's playing the Raiders and he's at home, so I'm going to call him a mid-range to low-end QB1. Travion Henderson, you can flex him out with Ramondre Stevenson on the injury report. He has an undisclosed injury that's left him questionable, so God willing, he'll be okay. Stephon Diggs, first season with the Patriots, he has a knee ACL injury. He's questionable, so God willing, he will be okay. So I'm going to say Travion Henderson as a running back 3 or 4, depending how deep your league is. And Mac Hollins is a sneaky flex wide receiver for this week for the Patriots going up against the Raiders. I don't trust the Raiders defense. And Hunter Henry is probably worth the play for you this week as well because they're playing the Raiders. Speaking of the New England Patriots. So next game we have will be the Arizona Cardinals going up against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. So the Saints and this starting quarterback situation that they have. So, you know, for the Saints, it's kind of open season here, but they announced what's going on with their team, and they're going to have Spencer Rattler as their starter for the 2025 season. They did draft Tyler Shuck. If you have questions, make sure you send those in to us. So the Cardinals, and here is a game where the Cardinals go in and they visit New Orleans. And New Orleans is an enigma. They've been an enigma really since Sean Payton exited stage left. They're a team that can score a lot of points, or they're a team that can frustrate the heck out of you and do little to nothing in fantasy. And sometimes they're good at home, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're, you know, doing things on the road that they wouldn't do at home, and sometimes they're taking care of home. They're a team that can score a lot of points. They're also a team that doesn't always play well. Maddie said, Arizona Cardinals defense, are they good? I have the Packers defense. Well, what I'll do is I'll streamline defenses. So, you know, I will actually do that, Maddie. You know, I'll look to streamline. Or if I don't streamline a defense, what I've done this year is I look at strength of schedule and I look at the teams that are playing the weakest schedule. And this season, the teams playing the weakest schedule are teams like the Houston Texans and the San Francisco 49ers. And I believe the New England Patriots have a weaker schedule this year. So I've actually looked to that. I mean, the Packers defense for this week, you're going to have the Packers going up against Detroit. That's not great. I mean, Arizona, I would say look at your defenses that are having a weaker schedule. And I mean, you can simply look up strength of schedule, and you can I'll do it right now for you actually. So, you know, to be a resource here. So strength of schedule for the NFL, we'll take a look at the teams here and see what they have. The easiest to the hardest schedule here. So the Niners are said to have the easiest schedule, then the Patriots, then the Saints, then the Falcons, then the Bills, then the Jaguars. Toughest schedule, the Giants said to have the toughest one, then the Browns and the Lions, Eagles, Vikings. So I'm going to see the Packers. So the Packers have the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have the 10th toughest strength of schedule this year. The Arizona Cardinals have the 11th easiest. So, I mean, you could go Arizona, but if the Niners, Patriots, Saints, if those are available, I'd probably go more on that side for strength of schedule. Niners, like I said, the Niners and the Patriots I knew had easier schedules. So I'd probably look to that. I mean, Packers isn't terrible, but if you're going strength of schedule wise, I just wanted to let you know that information so you had it, Maddie. And if you have any more questions, make sure you send them forward. But the next game that we're going to here, that Cardinals-Saints game here, and so with the Cardinals and the Saints in our fantasy football coverage in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, giving you our thoughts here. The Arizona Cardinals, they have Kyler Murray coming into New Orleans. I like Kyler Murray in this game. I'm going to call him a mid-range QB1 in this because, again, we don't know what Saints defense is going to show up, so let's call him a mid-range. I like James Conner as a RB1 for you. Trey Benson, you could put him as a flex. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm hoping big things for the guy. So I'm going to have him as a wide receiver 1 going up against their defense. Michael Wilson, who people don't give any love to, he's done some good things in Arizona, and I still think he's a sleeper. As much as he's had good moments, I still think people have forgotten those and aren't paying attention. So Michael Wilson's a guy you could flex out. Let's call him a wide receiver 3 or 4 this week. Tristan Jackson, who played at Syracuse for a season, he's on injured reserve with a thumb injury. God willing, he'll be okay and be back soon. Zay Jones, a guy who I spent a lot of time with, covered at East Carolina and also covered in the NFL, and spoke with him in Jacksonville. Man of God, kind human being, does nice things for people without even knowing. You know, he just kind of anticipates and helps people out, and so I respect him a lot for that more than football. So Zay is on the team. But I would say Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson is a sneaky sleeper. I think Michael Wilson's a sleeper this season. And then I like Trey McBride. I was high on Trey McBride when he came into the NFL. It seems like everybody's kind of caught up now. Now they think he's going to be a great tight end in the NFL. I thought he was going to be, you know, a strong tight end in the NFL when he came in, but people are more excited about him now. And so I like Trey McBride in this matchup. Alvin Kamara on the other side is worth the play. Kendre Miller, I got him as a little sneaky flex here, but he's going up against Arizona, so I'd probably call him a running back 3 this week. Chris Olave is their lead guy. They have Brandon Cooks back on the team in New Orleans, and Rashid Shaheed. I'm going to call Shaheed a 2. I'm going to call Cooks a 2 as well this week. I'm going to call Olave a wide receiver 1, and the tight ends, it's a toss-up. You know, I mean, Juwan Johnson seems to have the talent, but there's never the consistency of throwing him the ball. So, you know, I want to tell you to play him, but I always kind of circle him and put a question mark next to his name. So I'll continue to do that with Spencer Rattler now as the starter for this team. Next game we're going to go to is going to be the Aaron Rodgers Bowl, the team he was on for a couple seasons, the Jets, and the team he's on now, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, you know, in true Jets fashion, we'll probably see Aaron Rodgers have a MVP caliber season, a healthy season, and vie for a spot in the playoffs. I mean, that's typically, I'm not wishing anything bad on the Jets. I'm just saying that I got a feeling like Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good season and Jets fans are going to lose their minds. But I hope that we can have a world where Aaron Rodgers has a great season and Jets fans keep their sanity and don't get put in a straitjacket. I like Aaron Rodgers in this return to MetLife. Jalen Warren and Caleb Johnson look to be potentially going to split time here. So I'm going to call Jalen Warren a running back 2. I'm going to call Caleb Johnson a running back 3. DK Metcalf makes his debut with the Steelers. I like him in this game. I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2. Again, who does Aaron Rodgers like? Every quarterback has their guy. And Calvin Austin III, who comes from Memphis, and so does Kenneth Gainwell, who's a running back on the team. Calvin Austin has an abdomen injury, so he's questionable. So I would just watch that. Scotty Miller, who used to be a Tampa Bay Buck and did some things with Tom Brady there, he's on the team. Roman Wilson, not a household name yet. Ben Skowronek, not a household name as well. I would venture to say, if I had to put my feet to the fire in this first week with Aaron Rodgers as a Steeler, which is hard to believe but true, I'm going to say play DK Metcalf and Pat Fryermuth as the guys for him to throw to. Maybe Kelvin Austin III is a flex if he's healthy enough to go. On the other side of it, I'm probably not playing Justin Fields as my quarterback for this week. Breece Hall, I like him, but he's playing the Steelers defense. I'm going to call him a running back 2. Garrett Wilson, I'm going to call him a 1, but I'm going to temper my expectations a little bit because he's playing the Steelers. And yeah, I mean, that's probably where I would go for the Jets this week. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we spin back around, we will continue with our fantasy football coverage in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, NFL Week 1 of the 2025-26 season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Next game up, we'll head back in division, and we'll head back to the NFC East. The NFC East, all 4 teams are playing a divisional game. Cowboys-Eagles, Giants-Commanders. The Giants-Commanders conversation comes up right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Proud to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Under promise, over deliver, as we are past 11 o'clock here this morning, as we typically do. And of course, we are inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, which starts at 10 a.m. every single Wednesday on Wake Up Call worldwide. You are with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com/ Wake Up Call DT and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com internet streaming radio. Once the shows go live, they jump into the archives like our fantasy football content on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, so you're with us on all of our channels all throughout the year. Much appreciation for your support for that. Antonio has a question, and he said, PPR, would you start Dallas Goedert over Hunter Henry at tight end? Context, my starting quarterback is Drake May, and my wide receiver 1 is A.J. Brown. So, good question. Appreciate it, and thank you for sending the context over. My thing is, for the NFL kickoff, if Dallas Goedert doesn't perform, you're stuck with him, right? Like, that's who you have on that Thursday. You're stuck. So, if it doesn't work out, then that position's already done before we get into Sunday. But if you have Hunter Henry, you have an opportunity to have something on Sunday to help you out here. I told a gentleman a little bit earlier here that, for me, I would say, when we were talking about Tyler Warren, when Maddie asked the question about Tyler Warren, I said right underneath Tyler Warren, of the three tight ends that he has, that I like Hunter Henry this week. And I'm going to stick with that. The New England Patriots have the second easiest strength of schedule this season, and I don't trust the Raiders' defense at all. I think Drake May is going to find Hunter Henry, and you already have A.J. Brown going for you with the Philadelphia Eagles. And so you'd be putting so much on the Eagles kind of right off the bat. I would say go with Henry, Antonio. So Antonio, I would probably say go with Henry for this week. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I would say go Henry this week. That's where I would go. Because I think, obviously Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts, but I think that Drake May is going to have a better season this season, and I think there could be some good things for Hunter Henry, especially going up against the Raiders defense. Let's jump into the next game here, and if you got a question, keep sending it in. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and thank you for everybody that's with us on all of our channels, including everything that's come up here. We have a great fantasy football community on YouTube, and I appreciate you all tremendously. We have answered questions all over the country, and I can't thank you all enough. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Let's get into the Giants-Commanders game, another divisional game, NFC East. And like I said, the NFC East will all be playing each other this week. They'll all be staying in division for those two games and 4 teams. So Giants-Commanders will go to next. Giants don't have Daniel Jones anymore. Right now they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart. I told you this before, and I'll tell you this again. I believe that the Giants got really, really smart in the offseason because they picked up Russell Wilson and they picked up Jameis Winston. And you're not spending buku bucks for either one of them. And then you draft Jackson Dart. You get your guy. You get a vet to help him and lead him and bridge the gap, right? Give him some time where he doesn't have to start right away. I think what they did this for is not only to give some time, and Maddie, I saw your question, and Kyle, I saw yours, so stay with us on here because I'll get to it. I'll get to them in a second. Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I think you pick your guy, which they picked Russell Wilson at this time. You see how he does. Jackson Dart is going to be your eventual starter. So I think what they did by bringing in 2 vets that have both been champions, Russell winning a Super Bowl and Jameis winning the last BCS championship with the Florida State Seminoles before they switched to the college football playoff. I think what's going to happen here is they have both of these guys, and they're going to utilize one for trade bait. They're going to see what they need in the first few weeks, And when somebody needs a quarterback because they don't like the quarterback they have, or somebody gets injured or whatever happens, you're going to see Russell or Jameis Winston get traded. I would say right now, feet to the fire, Jameis gets traded. Maybe back to New Orleans. We'll see. But I think they're going to use one of those vets as trade bait, and they're going to start the other one, hold on to him for as long as they can, and then move over to Jackson Dart when they feel like he's ready to go. That's my belief on this. And before we get into the matchup between the Giants and the Commanders in Washington, D.C., let's go to Maddie's question. Should I drop Commanders defense and pick up the Patriots defense? That's a really good question. I would say hold on to the Commanders defense right now, Maddie, especially because they're playing the Giants. So, Maddie, I would say, now if Jameis Winston was the starting quarterback of the Giants, I would say definitely keep the Commanders defense because Jameis is very good at throwing to everyone. So he likes to spread it out. And listen, I kid around about Jameis Winston, but he's a good quarterback. You know, he does have his moments of throwing to the other team. So, Maddie, I would say hold on to Commanders defense right now. And then Maddie said Giants have always been a good organization. Yeah, I think this is one of the smartest moves they've made in recent history. And then Kyle, you have a question, and I'm guessing, Maddie, that you're a Giants fan. So Kyle, let's see what you got here. I have Josh Allen, exclamation point. You should be exclamation pointing that. I appreciate that. So Maddie said, okay, I'm holding. All right, thank you, Maddie. So Kyle said, I have Josh Allen. Should I double flex Shakir and Coleman or Jacoby Myers or Ollie Gordon? Start 2. Thanks. So, Kyle, thank you for the question, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And to answer your question, which is a good question, Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman, you want to know if you should. I'm guessing you're a Bills fan because you gave me an exclamation point when you said that you have Josh Allen and you also drafted Shakir and Coleman. So I'm guessing. Now they're Sunday Night Football and coming into town. Baltimore's coming into town. So Kyle said LOL here. So yeah, I'm guessing you're a Bills fan. I would not flex out Shakir and Coleman together. You have Jacoby Myers, who has allegedly requested a trade. And you have Ollie Gordon, and Miami's got a bunch of injuries right now. I would say, and I got another question. I have so many questions about Ollie Gordon, man. A lot of people hoping on him. I think some good things are going to happen with him this year, especially because Miami plays multiple guys, and they have some guys on injury, unfortunately, in Miami, which hopefully they'll be okay. But you got Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon II, and you have Devon Achane. So, Kyle, if you're going to flex, Kyle, this is what I'll tell you to do. I'll give you the best of both worlds. Kyle, I'd say, I also want to know who your wide receivers are besides Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. But Kyle, I would say this week, because they're playing Baltimore too, and that's a tough matchup for Buffalo. But I'm going to say, right now, I'm going to say Coleman and Ollie Gordon as your flex. But I'd like to know your other receivers. We got a bunch of other questions that came in here. So Jonathan said, and Jonathan, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. So Jonathan wrote in a question to us, and Jonathan's got a couple questions. So let's go to this one first. You said, got McBride and Kyle Pitts on my team. Was thinking about dropping Pitts to stash Ollie Gordon. I don't hate that. But we also don't know what Kyle Pitts is going to do. See, the thing about Kyle Pitts is it's either going to be great or it's going to be more of the same. Right? There's a better chance that Kyle Pitts is going to be frustrating to fantasy owners if they don't get the ball out to get him for like the 105th year in a row. Or it could be a good year for him. But you already have McBride. So, Jonathan, I'm going to say pick up Ollie Gordon just because I feel good about Ollie Gordon, and the more I feel good about him. So I'm gonna say pick him up. I'll say that. Let's see what other questions we got in here. Maddie said, LOL, no, I'm a football fan. I'm a St. Louis Rams fan, but they moved to LA, so I guess I'm a Rams fan still. Loyal I am. Well, hopefully St. Louis gets a franchise back soon. Maddie, I was in St. Louis, Missouri after the Rams left, but they still had not taken down any of the banners outside of the arena. So it was kind of like going through a breakup, but your ex still has a box of their stuff in your apartment. That's what it felt like. And it was sad, and I hope St. Louis gets a team. Jason says, should I start Jake Ferguson or Colston Loveland? You also have Mason Taylor, since you have Justin Fields. So should you start Jake Ferguson or Loveland? That's such a good question. And we will get to Giants Commanders, I promise, but I want to answer your questions here. So let me go really quick here to Chicago situation. So Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, man, I think I like the Monday night thing, having a tight end there, and I just feel like Chicago's going to be better this year. So you're asking me about what tight end you should play. That's a good question, man. So Jason, make sure you subscribe here as well and hit that notification bell so you don't miss us. Fantasy football coverage every Wednesday starting at 10 a.m. in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Perfect place to watch the games in Camillus, New York. And, of course, we're live in general on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios Monday through Friday from 9 to 11. But as you can tell by today, we always go past 11 worldwide, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you're with us. Jake Ferguson or Colston Loveland? Oh, my goodness. I mean, I'm going to have to go with my first feeling here. So, Jason, I would go Loveland this week at tight end. But you did ask me a difficult question, so I appreciate the challenge. And then Jonathan, back to you. Need to flex one between Jamison Williams, Calvin Ridley, or Isaiah Pacheco. Full PPR. Well, why you got to have so many good players, man, to full PPR this thing? So you got Pacheco, and you have Jamison Williams. It's between those two guys, Jamison Williams and Pacheco. Full PPR. Well, I'd love to know your other guys here, Jonathan. I'd love to know your other receivers and running backs. But, Jonathan, I'm going to, not knowing your other running backs and wide receivers, I'm going to say Pacheco over Jamison, but you can send me the rest of your roster. That's a close one for me to pick. Other questions we had came in. Oh, the Smitty, I remember you. Let's get to the Smitty. Should you drop Shakir for Ollie Gordon? I'm not for dropping guys like week one, like right out of the jump, man. Especially because, again, it's either going to be Shakir or Kincaid that I think is going to be the number one target in the passing game for Josh Allen. So the Smitty, I'd probably hold, even though I like Ollie Gordon. But I would probably hold right now. And we'll get more into the Bills when we get to their matchup here. Mad King says Loveland has way more upside. Yeah, so I mean, I'm going with Loveland for this week. Jason, another question from you, says start two: Waddle, DJ Moore, Jalen Warren, Nick Chubb, who's now a Texan. Start two. I'm going to say, good question. Waddle, are you in, Jason, tell me if you're in full PPR. So, are you in full or half PPR or no PPR? That'll help me answer that question. You're in full PPR. Okay. So, oh man, you're in full PPR. I'm going to say, Jason, I'm going to say Waddle and DJ Moore. I'm going to say Warren. I'm definitely is a close option for me too. I mean, if you're going to go one wide receiver, one running back, I'd go Waddle and Warren. But if you're okay going two wide receivers, I'd go Waddle and Moore. Manny said, do grades matter? As to what? Are you talking about grades in what sense? For Maddie, just let me know what you're saying there. Mad King said number 10 overall draft pick over an average tight end. So I guess, Mad King, are you talking about the Loveland situation? Guess he's talking about Loveland. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I would go with Loveland with the question that I got asked earlier here. And then Maddie said, I got an F in one league and my other a C-. Oh, in your draft grades? Man, I give grades out all the time. And, I mean, I'll grade your draft. But, I mean, do draft grades matter? I mean, listen, a grade is like giving somebody a ranking, right? Does it matter? No. I mean, you're either going to be better than your grade or right on par with your grade or worse than your grade. So we'll see, Maddie, but I'm here to help. Keenan Allen or Rashid Shaheed? Well, New Orleans is playing at home against Arizona, and Keenan Allen's playing against the Chiefs in Brazil in his second coming with the Chargers. I mean, I guess I'd probably lean. Man, I like Keenan Allen, but Ladd McConkey's there now. That's a tough question. I would say Shaheed because of being at home and playing the Cardinals. In that head-to-head one here. What else we got here? Jason said start 2, Jerry Jeudy, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift. That one I'm going to say Jeudy and Swift for you, Jason, to start those two. I'm going to say that. And then what other questions we got here coming in? Make sure I get them all. Jonathan, wide receiver starting are T. Higgins, Drake London, running backs Barkley and James Conner. Okay. And then also have Travis Hunter on my bench, but waiting to see how he turns out before I start him. Understandable. I just talked about the Jaguars a few games ago here. Is that you got to kind of see how often he's going to be used and if he's going to be more offense or defense or if it's going to change week to week. Jason said, thoughts on this team. 10-team PPR, start 9. Justin Fields is your quarterback. Barkley, Kyron Williams, I like your running backs. Scary Terry, McLaurin, Drake London, Cortland Sutton, I like those. Loveland, flex Pollard, Swift, bench Jeudy, Myers. So, I mean, I would start Jeudy this week, Jason. But I think you asked me that question already. And, yeah, you did. So I'd start him this week. Justin Fields, I wonder what other quarterbacks were out there at the time. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see if Justin Fields has a good season. God willing, he stays healthy, and the Jets can score some points here. They definitely have the talent to do it with Braylon Allen and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Maddie said, I get asked from a few Charbonnet fans. I don't have an answer. Do we start him at the flex? Depends on who you have on your team, Maddie, if you're going to start Charbonnet. And then Jason said, thoughts on my second team. 10-team PPR, start 9. Fields, Ashton Genty. Jason, are you a Jets fan? Because you have Fields as your quarterback at both. So we have Genty, Kamara, okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Teteroa McMillan, DJ Moore, Njoku, Flex, James Cook, Waddle. Your bench is Jalen Warren, Cooper Kupp, and Michael Pittman. Okay. I mean, Teteroa McMillan, if he's healthy, I would say put him out there. But if not, then I would say put Waddle up there instead of being at your flex. And, I mean, your bench, your Jalen Warren, Cooper Kupp, those are two guys you might want to put out there as well. Jake Rupp said Travis Hunter, Zach Charbonnet, or Kirk at the flex. Good question, Jake. Jake, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell. Happy to answer your question, though. Charbonnet or Kirk at the flex. So, oh, man. Kirk, I want to see what he ends up being. He's on the road in L.A. right now, so I'd probably wait on him. Charbonnet is behind Kenneth Walker the third, and Charbonnet is going to be playing San Francisco at home. Then you have Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, I mean, the question is, like I was saying earlier, Jake, is how often are they going to use him on offense? If I had to choose, I would say Kirk right now, just because I don't know the workload that Charbonnet is going to have. So Kirk for you this week, Jake, but it's close with Charbonnet. I mean, I think Charbonnet. I want to say something about Charbonnet because I think he's talented, but it's how often are they going to use him and Kenneth Walker together? Jason said, Fields I took last pick in both drafts and hope he stays being a fantasy beast. Haha, yeah, I see that. And he says, yes, he is a Jets fan. Well, I could tell. I can definitely tell. Let's get into this Giants-Commanders game, though. Quarterback-wise, I'd probably stay away from it in this matchup. Tyrone Tracy Jr., there was talk about the fact that he may be more of a receiving guy, so that could be good for your PPR. I'm going to call him a running back too. Cam Scattaboo, I like him as a sneaky flex this week. Malik Neighbors, because he could end up being the power back and the dominant back for the team. I did draft him, so I do like Cam Scattaboo. And I got to cover him when he was at Arizona State, was at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl between Texas and Arizona State, that instant classic game that was absolutely amazing. Malik Neighbors is questionable with a back injury. If he's able to go, I'd put him out there. Wendell Robinson I have as a wide receiver 3 this week, as well as Darius Slayton for the Giants. Wendell Robinson I've circled as a sleeper this year, so just monitor that. I like Jaden Daniels in this game at home. Austin Eckler as a true flex. And I would say Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. This is another guy that I would look at to make a nice debut into the NFL. I like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Apparently, they liked him enough to part ways with Brian Robinson Jr., and this is a rookie out of Arizona, 24 years old from Montgomery, Alabama. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt sounds like somebody that they would write a Western song about. So I'm going to say Ja'Cory. I'm going to actually put him this week. I got Austin Eckler as a flex. I'm going to have Ja'Cory as a flex, too. I'm going to have him as a running back 3. Terry McLaurin, you got to start. Deebo Samuel, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 in his debut with Washington. And then Zach feels so good at Ertz. I'm going to put him as a tight end 1 this week. Let's call him a mid-range tight end 1 because they're playing the Giants. Next game that we're going to get to, and thank you for all your questions. I think that's the longest it's ever taken me to get to a team that we have circled here on the board because of the amount of questions you sent in. So thank you for that. Titans at the Broncos. We're going to see year number 2 beginning for Bo Nix at home, and we're going to see the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, in his first ever NFL game that counts. We did have some thoughts come in here. Maddie said, my main starters are Bijan, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Emeka Ibuka, TJ Hawkinson, Jalen Warren, Keelan Allen, Shaheed Algier, Gordon II, and Hunter Henry. So do you have to play 2 tight ends is the question, Maddie. Darnell Mooney is day-to-day. What does this mean? It means that he could play or he could be held out. So I would just monitor that. There's other guys there to throw the ball to as well. B. Silva said, is the rookie wide receiver Alec Iomanner a stash in a 12 team? Dude, I picked him up as my last running back, or my last wide receiver, I should say. I picked him up as my last receiver in my, I think, 14 team league that has a standard and PPR. It's a hybrid. So I think he is a grab and stash. I'm thinking of grabbing Bryce Young as a stash. I have Josh Allen as my QB1 in 1 QB league. Yeah, I mean, B Silva, I think you're with us from last year, but if you're not, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I will tell you that I do think it is important to grab and stash a guy like Alec Iomanner because I don't think people are thinking of him. I drafted him. Wasn't much reaction. Like I said, he was my 6th and final wide receiver. I took in a 14-team league, and nobody drafted him in my 12-team league, and nobody drafted him in the 8-team league that I'm in. So I think he is a good grab and stash. So I would definitely say that. And so I think that's smart of you to do. And then as far as picking up a quarterback in Bryce Young to back up Josh Allen, B, tell me who the other available quarterbacks are. Like I said, more information is always better than less. So make sure that you let me know who that is. or who the other ones are before I tell you outright to go and pick up Bryce Young. Next thing that we have coming up here, like I said, the Titans at the Broncos. Let's get into this game. So Cam Ward, I'd hold off. I got him as a QB2 going into this week, especially up against Denver's defense. Tony Pollard's the starting running back. Julius Chestnut is behind him. Tajay Spears, unfortunately, is injured, expected to return from the ankle IR. So hopefully he'll be back soon. Covered Tajay in college and was there for his 4-touchdown day that they had in the Instant Classic and the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic when they defeated Caleb Williams and USC, and the they being the Tulane Green Wave. So Tony Pollard, I'm going to call him a running back 3 this week because of who they're playing. Calvin Ridley's on the injury report. It just says general soreness, so God willing, he'll be okay. Tyler Lockett is a Titan for the first time, and Alec Iomanner is out there as well. Anybody could be the guy for Cam Ward. He seemed to like Iomanner in preseason. That's why I drafted him as my grab and stash wide receiver, 6th wide receiver on my team. So Iomanner, I'm going to call him a low-key flex here. Tyler Lockett, I'm going to call him a low-end 2, high-end 3 at wide receiver. And Chigazium Okonkwo, their tight end, I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end 2. It's just a big question mark what Cam Ward's going to do, especially in his first game. That's why I don't have anybody as an outright 1. On the other side of it, I like Bo Nix. I'm going to call him a mid-range to low-end QB1 this week. I do like him as a QB1, but this could be a defensive game. J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey are here. I got R.J. Harvey as the guy that's going to be taking over the backfield, but we shall see. So I'm going to say Harvey as a running back 3. I'm going to say Dobbins as a running back 2 for this week, but that could flip. I like Cortland Sutton in the game. Marvin Mims, he is on the injury report with a groin injury, so just watch that. Evan Engram's making his debut with the Broncos. The Jaguars, in a horrible decision, let him go for free. Didn't even get anybody for him. So I like Bo Nix in the game, but I like some quarterbacks this week higher than him. R.J. Harvey, I like him, but I'm going to temper my expectations for week 1. I'm going to put J.K. Dobbins a little bit ahead of him. I'm like Cortland Sutton in the game, and a sneaky flex for Troy Franklin. And Evan Engram in this matchup, I like Evan Engram to do some good things. He's played the Titans as a Jaguar, and I just think Evan Engram's a lot better than the Jaguars treated him as. So I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1 this week, especially because of who they are playing. And before we get to the next game, which is going to be the Niners in-division game against the Seahawks, and that's going to be an NFC West matchup. Before we get into that, I'm going to go to my messages here. Maddie said, I think I'm going to drop Shipley, the handcuff for Barkley, pick up Io Manor. I like that. I like that decision. And then B. Silva said other quarterbacks available are Sam Darnold, who's now in Seattle, Geno, who's now with the Raiders, Michael Penix Jr., Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, and Matt Stafford. Yeah, I would pick up some of these guys before Bryce Young. I'm going to probably tell you, I like Sam Darnold, but I also like Michael Penix. And so I'm going to ask you to maybe take a little bit more of a risk, B. Silva. I'm going to say Penix, then Stafford, and yeah, I would say Penix. I like Matty Stafford. And then I would sneakily say Rodgers as far as who to pick up. And then Rushman said Matty. Rushman, if you have a question, make sure you send it in. Thank you for being on here, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell while you're here with us as well. Let's get into San Fran at Seattle in this NFC West matchup. I'm going to go to San Fran first because they're the road team, and then we'll get into Seattle here. So San Fran first, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's worth the play, but they're playing Seattle, so let me call him a low-end QB1 this week. Mac Jones is there, formerly drafted by in the top 15, I think 15th overall. I called that they would draft him when he fell to them out of Alabama to the Patriots, and then he was a Jaguar, and now he is backing up Brock Purdy in San Fran. I'm going to tell you that Yeah, I'm going to call him a low-end quarterback 1 this week, Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey's worth a play. Brian Robertson Jr., sneaky flex. Jawan Jennings is on the injury report with a calf injury. If he's good to go, I'm going to have him as a wide receiver 3. I got Pearsall as a wide receiver 3. Sky Moore goes from one red to the other red, from the Chiefs to the Niners. I'm going to say Sky Moore, who comes out of Western Michigan. I got him as a wide receiver 3, and Marcus Valdez-Scantling as a wide receiver 3, because you don't know who's going to be the guy in San Fran without Debo. And Brandon Ayuk here is on the injury report and has that ACL, MCL. He's on the PUP list. Hopefully, God willing, returning and being fully healthy and staying healthy in week 5. He could return. So I'm going to call 4 receivers for San Fran, all wide receiver 3s, because it's a big-time question mark, so I'd only flex those guys out. The debut for Sam Darnold is at home with the 12th man in Seattle. I like that, but I don't have him as a starting quarterback for you this week. Kenneth Walker III against San Fran's defense. Again, San Fran is playing the easiest strength of schedule, so you might want to play their defense and special teams this week. And Rushman, thank you for hitting that notification bell and subscribing to us. Kenneth Walker III, I like him in this matchup. Charbonnet, I'm going to call a flex wide receiver, or pardon me, running back 3. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba in the game. I like Cooper Kupp in the game. I picked up Cooper Kupp in one of the leagues. I think he's going to have a better season than people might be giving him credit for. And it's a big-time question mark who the tight end's going to be in Seattle. So probably stay away from any of those guys this week. A.J. Barner, Elijah Arroyo, Eric Sauber, as well as Nick Callerup. So those are all question marks here. And then we have Maui, and I want to know, Maui, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell while you're here. Are you coming to us, Maui? Are you coming to us from, the big question I have for you is, are you from Hawaii? Because you would be another listener that we've had from Hawaii and viewer. So he's asking Travis Hunter or Ollie Gordon in the flex. I'm going to say Ollie this week, just because I don't know how often we're going to see Travis Hunter on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm going to say Ollie Gordon, who I'm pretty high on here this week, is what I'll say. And thank you for that. Thank you for subscribing. So, yeah, let's jump in. We're going to go to our next game here. But before we go to the next game, which is going to be Detroit at Green Bay, which I think is going to be a good game for fantasy, before we jump into that game, we are going to take a step aside inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. You are with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, starting every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and always going past the hour typically. So we'll be back, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, Camillus, New York, the perfect place to watch all of your games, any sport. And make sure you do that on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We'll take a step aside. Next game, I'll circle it so you know what's coming up. Detroit at Green Bay in Division, NFC North. Great Lakes Honda City Studios will have that for you right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout delivery and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K, the number 9, KAMP, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios, hanging out with you in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour in Week 1 of the 2025-26 NFL season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, the place to watch all your NFL games Thursday, Sunday, Monday, and of course when they have those Saturday games as well as watching college football and whatever you enjoy it with the fantastic food and ambiance of the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, our exclusive fantasy football partner in Central New York. For those Central New York leagues, the Gridiron Gurus and the Captains on call. And I just want to let y'all know that if you are in our fantasy football leagues you have the opportunity of winning this. Now, this is the Lombardi, right? It's a little bit smaller than the actual Lombardi, but it is a heavy trophy, and it is the essence of the Lombardi. You get the logo for Wake Up Call put here, then your name, the name of your team, and of course, Wake Up Call Fantasy Football, the league you're in, and the year. So that is if you win first place. And if you win last place, I got to show you what last place looks like. I think y'all are going to appreciate this. So if you win last place in our Wake Up Call Fantasy Football League, you get your face in a toilet. So this is what that looks like. So we put your picture in the top of the toilet. The bottom of the toilet is open, so you can put candy and stuff in there, and you get your name and everything put here. So first place in our Wake Up Call Fantasy Leagues, you get your Lombardi. Last place, you get your face in a toilet seat. So you gotta definitely make sure you get into our leagues. We always have a lot of fun, and I thought it was cool to have something funny for last place, and of course to have a true trophies trophy here for first place. So some cool stuff here that we have for you. Let's get into that Lions-Packers game as we look to round out Sunday in the first week of the NFL. So we'll go to the Lions first. Jared Goff in the game. I'm going to say, and Kyle Allen backing him up, who I covered when he was at the University of Houston. Jared Goff, I'm going to say he's a mid-range to low-end QB1 this week because they're on the road in Green Bay. I do like him. I think he's good for maybe a couple touchdowns in this game. So that's where I'm at. Let's say QB1, but not on the higher end this week. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, arguably the best running back tandem in the country because they can both get double-digit touchdowns in the season and close to 1,000 yards apiece. They're playing on the team as if there's only one of them, but both of them both get to eat. So I like them. Put them out there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, put him out there. Jamison Williams, I'm going to have him low-end 2, high-end 3. And Sam Laporta, you got to play Laporta. So much talent here on Detroit for fantasy. On the other side with Jordan Love, I'm going to have him as a QB, low-end 1, high-end 2 at QB. Let's see how he does this year. But I am monitoring it, and I do absolutely hope the best for him. Speaking of hoping the best for him, Marshawn Lloyd, I hope he'll be well. He's on the injured reserve list, hamstring. Could be back week 6, and hopefully he will be. Josh Jacobs is worth your play. Jaden Reed is injured right now. Foot injury, questionable. So, God willing, he'll be okay. Him, Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams, and Christian Watson all on the injury report, which means that the healthy wide receivers for Green Bay, Matthew Golden, Malik Heath, and Romeo Doubs. So, I would play Golden. Let's call him let's call Doubs a 2. And let's call Matthew Golden a 2 behind Doubs, high-end 3. Tucker Kraft, I'm going to call him a tight end 2 this week. And I tell you to play the Lions defense and special teams. Next one we have in our final Sunday midday game before we get into Sunday Night Football is going to be Houston at LA for the Rams. I don't like this Rams logo because I always think it's the Chargers because it's an arching thing like the Chargers arch. So I get confused, and I think a lot of us do. Houston at the Rams because the Chargers will be in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and they'll be playing Friday night. So the home that they share, SoFi Stadium, will just be for the Rams this week. And let's go to Houston first, the visiting team, and then we'll go over to the Rams. So for Houston, C.J. Stroud, hopefully he'll be back soon. Nick Chubb, I'm going to call him a running back 2. Woody Marks, I'm going to call a sneaky flex. I'm not really sold on Dameon Pierce right now. He was supposed to be drafted as the guy. It hasn't worked out. He is in his 4th season out of Florida. Go Gators. Nico Collins, I would play him at wide receiver. I got him as a 1. I got Christian Kirk as a low-end 2, high-end 3. Jaden Higgins I'd probably put as a 3 right now. And Dalton Schultz, I don't feel great about Dalton Schultz, so I'm going to probably put him as a 2 at this moment in time at tight end for this week. On the other side for the home Rams, I like Matt Stafford in the game. I'm going to call him a mid-range QB1. Kyron Williams, you got to play him Blake Corum in a deep league. You can have him as a flex running back. Got to play Puka. Cooper Kupp's not on the team anymore, which is really hard to believe. And Devontae Adams is on the team for the first time ever. I like Devontae as a low end 2, high end 3. And, tight end, I'm not really sold on Higbee. So let's do our Sunday night football, and then we'll do Monday night to finish off this fantasy football power hour for NFL Week 1 of the 2025-26 season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, our fantasy football partner in Central New York. Let's go Sunday night first. Baltimore at Buffalo. These games are great for us to see, but it's also difficult because Buffalo and Baltimore, there's going to be film out by you, right, if you play each other in the playoffs, but you don't want the film to be against each other because then you can see not only the film, but how you fared against each other in an actual game up against each other. So Lamar Jackson's already on the injury report. I don't like that. God willing, he'll be okay to go with a foot injury. I like Lamar in the game. I like Derrick Henry. I like Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman I got as a wide receiver 3, and I like Mark Andrews. Hopefully Isaiah Likely will be okay. He also has a foot injury, so God willing, he gets out there and he's good to go. DeAndre Hopkins is on the injured list as well with a knee injury, so just monitor that and see where he stands on that list. But as always, we pray that everyone is healthy and stays healthy in Jesus' most precious name. Buffalo, the home team, to play Josh Allen, James Cook, Keon Coleman, I'm going to call him a 2. Kincaid, I'm going to call him a tight end 1. Khalil Shakir, ankle injury is questionable. If he's good to go, I'm also going to call him a wide receiver 2 because is he going to be the 1 or is Keon Coleman going to be the 1? They got to figure that out. So I'm going to call them both 2s right now, but I like Keon Coleman a little bit more than Shakir this week. And then the first Monday Night Football of the season is going to be Minnesota at Chicago. And for Minnesota, I am going to... This is J.J. McCarthy's debut. He was out last year due to injury, so this is his rookie season, even though he's a sophomore in the NFL. On Monday Night Football, I probably temper my expectations. I'm going to call McCarthy a 2 at quarterback. I like Aaron Jones in this game. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are both on the injury report. Jefferson hamstring. Addison is suspended until week 4. So he's not on the injury report. Pardon me. He's suspended. So Jefferson, if he's good to go, I would say he's worth the play. And Thielen is back on the team. I'm going to have him as a sleeper wide receiver 3 or 4. TJ Hawkinson, I think, is worth the play. But like I said, there's some guys I'd pick above him like a Tyler Warren or a Hunter Henry this week because just that Monday night matchup at Chicago. Not a big fan of that for Minnesota. Let's go to Chicago now, the home team. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a better sophomore season, like I said. Would I trust him this week as your outright starter? There's probably better guys. But if he's your, if you got him and Justin Fields, I'd go Caleb Williams this week. So DeAndre Swift is worth the play. DJ Moore is worth the play. Roma Dunze as well. And Colston Loveland, I'd put him out here in his debut. I'm going to call him probably a mid-range 1 rookie out of Michigan, Colston Loveland. So I give him a shout this week. And with that being said, that is my advice for the entire week 1 of fantasy football in the NFL's 2025-26 season. Proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, our Central New York fantasy football exclusive home is on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Make sure you head out there. And if you want takeout and delivery, if you're going to be staying inside, of course, call the Wildcat at 315-487-2222. With that being said, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I thank you for watching and listening to Wake Up Call. Fantasy football coverage starts every Wednesday midweek on Wake Up Call at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So set it and keep it and remember it and share it. And, of course, thank you to everybody that's been watching and listening and all of our new subscribers. We got a new question that came in here from Tent. Tent, I want to make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell while you're here. And we appreciate you for being here. So let's get to Tent's question really quick here. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We appreciate you for coming in. And his question here, can you help me out for a start or sit? I need two out of 3 full PPR. Tedero, McMillan, Cortland Sutton, and Omarion. I would say Omarion and McMillan if McMillan's able to go. But just monitor McMillan, because you can always go Cortland Sutton. But I'd say Omarion and McMillan, my knee-jerk reaction. Thank you to everybody that watched and listened. Be with us Monday through Friday on Wake Up Call, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both worldwide, and both / Wake Up Call DT, and of course on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com for internet streaming radio. And every Wednesday, the Fantasy Football Power Hour presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on these channels. So make sure you're here with us. Thank you for all your questions and all your support, and God bless each and every single one of you and all of your loved ones today and always. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, we thank you for also being with us on our wonderful apps: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe, follow us, like us on all of these avenues by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Game Point Sports Complex, the place to go, and it is available to you all throughout the year, no matter the weather. This state-of-the-art, fantastic sports complex is home to basketball, pickleball, volleyball, cheerleading, field hockey, and more, including birthday parties. You can get in touch with them by going to gamepointsports-syr.com, and you can apply to reserve some time today, and they work with everybody. Whether it's just you coming in, a couple people, or if you got a big event, make sure you go to gamepointsports-syr.com. Shout out to Myers Creek Brewing Company in Cazenovia, as well as in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. And many thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Brian's Landing, Mother's Cupboard, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, and of course, many thanks to the newest Chick-fil-A in our community, that being Chick-fil-A DeWitt. You can go and see Megan Sorber and her team today and every day of the week outside of Sunday. As you know, they are closed on Sundays. You can visit her and her team right there. You can't miss it. So easy to get to. On the corner of Erie Boulevard and Bridge Street, you will find Chick-fil-A DeWitt in their giant brick building and their double drive-through. Make sure you head in there today and let them know that DT sent you to get so much more than just simply a chicken sandwich at the wonderful Chick-fil-A DeWitt on Bridge and Erie. We look forward to seeing you over there. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Find the Bobcats every month on Wake Up Call and what we call the Bobcat Buzz, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show. You could find all of our content of over 100 episodes by going to youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The new additions to wakeupcalldt.com. You could see them on the homepage as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab in a very easily accessible and multi-purpose page that we have for Bryan and Stratton there right under the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. So check that out today. And for more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats call Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora home in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Find the Bearcats every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you will find them with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni, including our newest special with Ty Muse, the CEO and president of Visions Federal Credit Union, who has decided to give back in a massive way to Binghamton University, including making the Visions Federal Credit Union track and field facility come to life, which is a $5.6 million project that they just broke ground on. You can find all of our content with Binghamton by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Binghamton playlist, and the Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and in their awesome accessible underneath the exclusive partner tab page that we have there for Binghamton that I just added a bunch of things to, including the interview from yesterday with Ty Muse. Check it all out on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers call Wake Up Call home. Onondaga Community College, with our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with OCC, officially started on September 1st, and our first Laser Lounge officially came to you today. The Lasers will be with us every other Wednesday, I should say. Every other Wednesday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you will find the Lasers here with us. So they started today, and the next time they'll be on is Wednesday, September 17th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can find the Laser Lounge and all of our content with OCC by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our OCC playlist, and of course you'll find the Lasers on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and in their page that just came to you as of September 1st, underneath the exclusive partners tab, check out that page with OCC, accessible for your academic and athletic needs there, with plenty of information on OCC. For more information on your Onondaga Community College Lasers, all you have to do is go to onondagalasers.com and go Lasers. With that being said, I want to thank my guests of the first part of the show, Mike Borsch, OCC Lasers Director of Athletics at Onondaga Community College. And of course, many thanks to my one-on-one conversation with your starting quarterback of the Syracuse Orange, Steve Angeli. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and our second home of Florida, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. I say God bless, no stress, do your best, be safe, and we'll talk soon.